So let's take a look at MSTY, MSTR, and Bitcoin, and let's see what happened yesterday and what could be in store for us today. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today we're going to take a look to see what MSTY did on Monday and where it ended up and possibly where we could be going today with the help of MSTR and Bitcoin. So let's just go ahead and jump onto the Webull chart. Alright, so here we are on the Webull chart for MSTY, and this is showing what it ended up on Monday. Today is Tuesday morning. So it looks like on Monday it opened at 1820, went as low as 1791, as high as 1889, and then closed at 1887. So we did end up closing close to the high for Monday, which was a 5.6% move up. Very, very nice, right? So that's $1 move on MSTY from where we had it on Friday. As you can see, we had that big red candle on Friday, and on Monday we had that nice green candle. So love to see that. Would love to see it keep on moving back up, but we'll see. Now because of that green candle, we did have some green volume, which is great. And let's just go ahead and see where it's setting at the Bollinger Band now by flipping this over to the adjusted chart. So to do that, we'll go to the settings here, axis, adjusted, done. Okay, so here we are on the adjusted chart for MSTY. And with the adjusted chart, we'll see again, we did have that green volume. The MACD is trying to actually level off a little bit. It is still pointed down, but those momentum bars did decrease. And the RSI2 from where I had bought it on Friday, which was down below the RSI 210 at 8.1, which is now ending on Monday at 55.89. So I did not buy any MSTY yesterday, but that's okay. I'm glad that I did and was able to pick up some on Friday. But let's just go ahead and turn on the Bollinger Band and see where it sets and to see what that looks like now. Now before we had saw it widening out, right? Right there was that widening out of that Bollinger Band. And now it is still widening some, but it is trying to turn around on that Bollinger Band. Meaning that hopefully it can turn around and then start moving inward to tighten up this Bollinger Band, right? As this price moves up toward the midpoint, then the Bollinger Band will start moving toward that as well. Now, if we get another red day, then the midpoint will start moving down toward the candle, and therefore the Bollinger Band could start widening out again, right? But if we did hit a low here, and now we're starting to move back up, that would be a great thing. And as you see, the momentum bars are decreasing, right? They are decreasing in the size of those red bars. So that's a good thing. But let's just go ahead and flip it over to MSTR, and let's just see what happened yesterday on MSTR, where it sets, and possibly where it could be going to help us to determine where MSTY could be going. So let's flip it over to MSTR and check it out. Alright, so here we are on MSTR, and we did have that line at 392.92 right here. Now we are below it, but since it was a green candle, it's not considered a confirmation on the downside, right? And the candle before did touch that support line here, so I am still considering this as a support line. We have not got that confirmed downturn yet. Now if we can get this candle on up and back up into this area, and then hopefully give us more assurity that this is indeed our support line, that would be a good thing at this 392.92. But if we come down today, then we could get a red candle, and that would and could confirm a downturn or a breakdown of the price below that original support line, and then it would be a resistance line. So keep an eye out for that. And as you can see, pre-market we are down a little bit. We're at 388.31. We did close at 389.24 yesterday. And it looks like on yesterday we opened at 372.77. We went as low as 366.20. Wow. I wish I would have saw that. I could have picked up a couple more shares. And then as high as 390.02 before closing at 389.24. So always keep in mind the pre-market really doesn't mean a whole lot, right? It just kind of gives you maybe a glimpse of maybe which way it might be going, but it is just pre-market. So let's turn on the Bollinger Band here, and I think we all know that it's going to be off the bottom. It is still down below the midpoint, but that RSI2 here is not below the 10. It's actually setting at 56.91. So therefore, it was not a buy for me yesterday. Now, when it opened and when it was low, it was, right? That was definitely a potential buy. But it did move up throughout the day, so therefore it did start moving off of that and moving away from that 10. So therefore, that took away that potential buy spot, right? At least for me. And don't forget, we did have those earnings, and those earnings came out, and they were actually very good, right? The earnings were actually very good. But of course, there's always still the concern that they're so heavy in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin being very volatile, that does add a bit of uncertainty to the stock, and therefore it did cause it to go down. But the most part that caused it to move downward was because, I believe, the tariff talk. But notice on Monday how that seemed to recover pretty quick, right? And I think as far as the tariff talk goes, now I could be wrong, but we've had so many talks of the tariffs that it could be a shock at first. Like you see this big red candle here, it could be a shock at first, but I think the market might be getting used to it unless things change, right? They're starting to kind of understand how it all works, so there's a big shock in the news, but then the market seems to want to recover. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to, but it's just seeming that there was a nice little recovery on Monday. So if we can get back up above that 392.92 right here, then hopefully we can start moving back up to test some of these other resistance points here in hopes to make ourselves a new support line here, and then hopefully keep moving that support line up. But right now we need to get it above that 392.92 so that we can get a confirmation green candle above that point of that 392.92 so that we can confirm that this is indeed our support line. We'll see how today goes. If we do have a red candle, that will confirm this as a resistance line once again, as that would be our confirmation candle. So let's just check out Bitcoin and let's see where it's setting currently and what it did yesterday. Okay, so here is Bitcoin, and you can see yesterday actually it had a little bit of a red candle, right? And there was actually a long wick on the top side of that candle, right? And that's not a positive sign, that's actually a negative sign, meaning that there's a lot of sellers in this area. So as we saw before, over here we have a lot of buyers, and now over here we're having a lot of sellers. So you could say we are in a little bit of a pivot point, right? We do have a little bit of a battle going on, as it looks like we could say that right here we have a lot of sellers, right? So we'll make this red, and then right here we seem to have a lot of buyers. So we'll make this green, right? So a lot of sellers here because of that long wick, and it is right there on our resistance line, right? And it is a resistance line because we did get our confirmation candle right here with this red candle, even though it was not a great confirmation candle because of the long wick on the bottom, but it still was a confirmation candle. So that is our resistance line here at this 114.7, almost 114.8. And with these wicks on the top and these candles keep bumping this same resistance line, meaning there's a lot of sellers right here keeping it pushed down. But in the same sense, we also have some buyers right down here that are keeping this pushed back up. So kind of that unknown zone here is the in-between, and that's the gray area, right? So this is the area where it's going to want to get pushed into because the sellers are going to push it down and then the buyers are going to push it back up. So right now this is the unknown zone and the comfort zone, and we'll see which of the two, the sellers or the buyers, get tired first, because whichever one gets exhausted first will be the one that ends up losing, right? And that candle will then move right on through them if those sellers get exhausted, or it will move right on through the buyers if the buyers get exhausted, and then the price would come on down. And then we could be coming down to retest our other previous support line of around 109.7K. But right now, I think it's pretty clear we've got some sellers and we've got some buyers for Bitcoin right in these areas. So it'll be very interesting to see today which way it's going to go, or is it just going to stay right here in this comfort zone right in here. So that's something to watch out for today. All right, I did not make any purchases yesterday for MSTY and MSTR, and as you saw, it was because the RSI2 was above the 10 and we were starting to move up in the price. I prefer to buy on a red day and also on my markers for the RSI2 to be below 10 and toward the bottom of the Bollinger Band. And neither happened yesterday. So we'll see, does today move us back up on MSTY, or are we going to be coming back on down? I'd like to see it move back on up just like the rest of you, but we'll see what today brings. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, smash the like button, it'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.